My name is Kevin Kalyan, and I run multiple businesses generating over 8 figures annually. I'm the owner and broker of Gold Star Premier Properties, the owner of Gold Star Floors. I run a fix and flip and new construction and development business, and I'm also in the financing industry. What I don't like to do is brag. I like to work. That's why they call me the Silent Mogul. Today we have an amazing guest. If you don't know him by now, that means you're living under a rock. I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Ryan Riddle. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you, my man. I think you missed something in the introduction.
What did I miss?
You forgot to say that you got the most perfect eyebrows.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. You're always knocking me for that. But I do love to keep nice set of eyebrows, as you can see. So, Ryan, first off, I'd like to say thank you for joining us today. I know you have a busy schedule, and I appreciate you taking a minute out of your time and your day to be here with us.
No, thank you, man. It's my pleasure.
So, you and I have talked for a while now, and this market's been crazy due to COVID and the pandemic. What are some things you've noticed in the industry that you feel is taking a turn for the worse?
So there's a few things that are happening in the market right now. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out and saying that they pretty much don't want to continue to be purchasing this investment paper, right?
Okay.
So a few things that I see, in the beginning of the year, the investment rates were crazy, right? Fannie Mae's coming out and trying to shake things up a little bit. And now there's even some lenders that aren't taking applications on multi-unit investment properties. So they're kind of backing away from that, and they want the private hedge funds and the alternative banks to kind of step in and start purchasing that paper and coming up with products and programs to better suit them.
Okay.
Fannie Mae also came out, said they're going to be tightening things up a little bit. So FHA came out and lightened some of their guidelines. Fannie Mae's going to tighten them up a little bit. So it's just going to shake up the market for a little bit. Some of these values are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, on the real estate end, I have multiple deals out there that's just, you're crossing your fingers in terms of when the appraisal comes in, if it's going to be at that value.
Yeah.
But, by doing my due diligence, I know a lot of these houses are overpriced.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding right now is if these listing agents are putting a mortgage contingency in these properties, that means that the buyer is going to have to come up with the difference.
Yeah.
And on the other spectrum, if there's not a mortgage contingency, that means that the deal is pretty much dead unless the seller decides that he's going to come down in price.
Yeah, so there was just one deal that I had, and so the appraisal came in a little short. And I'm looking at this property, and it was a 1,000 square foot house in Freeport. And
I think I know that property.
it was, so it came. So I'm talking to the loan officer, and she's like, my appraisal came in short. I'm like, you gotta look at this though. This means that they're building that house for $530 a square foot. Give me $530 for my house. I'll sell it right now. So it's crazy that people, it's not going. I guess it's in perspective, right? Some properties, if you go into the $1 million price point, you do price per square foot in certain neighborhoods, it works out. But when you look at the price per square foot in some of these neighborhoods, it's scary.
So let me ask you this from the mortgage perspective. What I'm noticing a lot in the industry right now is that the buyers are facing a difficult and uphill battle when it comes to getting their offers accepted. From your perspective, what are some things that the agent can do to put their buyer in a better position to get their offers accepted?
So there's really not much you can do, right? There's a few things that you can do, but not everybody has the ability to do them. So at Cliffco, we're doing TBD commitments, right? Okay. So we're helping your offers look a lot more presentable, right? Like it's already went into in front of an underwriter. We're halfway there, contingent on a few things, right? So we're helping you there. But it's the communication, right? So if your mortgage lender is reaching out, right? So Kevin, say you're selling a house, and before you even accept that offer, and I call you up along with your other 60 offers that you're getting, and I go, hey Kevin, my name's Ryan, I'm calling from Cliffco. I just want to let you know, you're going to be getting an offer from so-and-so for this client, and I'm the mortgage lender on it. And just sticking outside, standing out a little bit in the transaction, those are really the only two things that can really help you, because what's one person's paper look at, it doesn't look any different than anybody else's, right?
So let me ask you this. If I have a prospective buyer for one of my listings, and they provide me with a pre-approval from ABC Mortgage Co., what are some things that Cliffco and yourself can do to kind of make that pre-approval stand out stronger in my eyes?
Before you even sign those contracts, I'm able to get you that commitment and get in front of the underwriter. So in that short period of time, it shows you how committed that borrower or that client is, right, that wants to purchase that house. And that's what's going to tell you kind of like how the transaction is going to go.
Okay.
You know, so that's where we're standing out a little bit.
I feel like in terms of communication, you and I have worked together for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that I value most about you is your level of professionalism as well as your communication. There's a lot of lenders out there that I've worked with in the past that would send out these shady pre-approvals, and when the deal's already signed and under contract, you can't get them on the phone.
Yeah.
So I feel like you having that level of professionalism right off the bat stands out in my eyes.
I appreciate that.
Also, one thing I noticed with you as well is you do full doc, pre-approvals.
Yeah.
You have the assets, the income, the credit. You have everything up front before you issue a pre-approval. So I feel like if somebody sees a pre-approval with your name, it holds, a good weight. It should hold good weight in the industry compared to somebody who just does a pre-approval just off, a phone call.
Yeah, so we're coming up with a new open house system for our agents. And because what's happening is a couple of deals on a couple of the fix and flip investors that I'm working with, one of them's, our friend Rich, he's like, I've never had a deal die on me, and now I have 2 deals that are dying on me because they can't get the mortgage, right? So what's happening is that the market's so busy, and right, so just like in real estate, same thing as mortgages. Everybody thinks there's so much money to be made there, right? It's so easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop into it. So people are hopping into it fast and really don't know how to maneuver that real estate transaction or on the mortgage end.
Or uneducated as well. They're not taking the time to learn the field.
Exactly. So a lot of that's happening. So you want to make sure the paper that you got and the person that you're working with is good. But what we're seeing is on one of the open houses, for one of the agents that we work with is, they had 170 buyers at the house or 160 buyers, 70 offers. And I vetted the first 10 of them, and 4 of them couldn't get a mortgage. It was just a piece of paper. And it's just so crazy with all these people on the market. They're upping their bid on the house, right? So say you're listing the house for $500 and they're going $550, and they have no idea where their payment's going to be, if they could actually qualify. So when I'm calling them and saying, hey, you went $70,000 over on this asking price, and they're like, yeah, what's my payment going to be? Oh my God, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's tough, and you try to move fast for your client, and there's a lot of bases to cover.
I also found that a lot of the agents aren't educating their buyers. Like I had a deal come through my table the other day, and the first thing I asked them, are you willing to waive the mortgage contingency? Because right now, there's a lot of question marks when it comes to appraisal.
Yeah, show me the money.
Yeah, and the agent, said yes right away. So I received an email like a week later from, I don't know how the buyer got my information, asking me, what does this mean? So I redirected her to her agent, and she stated that she couldn't get her agent on the phone. So what I ended up doing was I 3-wayed the agent and her buyer, because I don't do shady business. I'm not gonna cut you out and go directly to your buyer, even though your buyer reached out to me directly. And I said, before committing to me and saying yes about a question that I asked you, you should have verified with your client that they're okay with that.
Yeah.
Because now when it comes to a point that we sign contracts and the appraisal may or may not come in short, you're gonna be on the hook for this. And there's a potential lawsuit at hand because you didn't tell your buyer, you assumed your buyer knew what a mortgage contingency was, but they didn't. And you're putting yourself on the line for that.
And that's what happens. So certain buyers are uneducated, right? They get referred to one person, and sometimes that realtor, even the mortgage end, tries to keep everybody in their circle, right?
Yeah.
And then I can explain things the right way.
Yeah, but Ryan, what I have to ask you is that I've never seen somebody grow their business at such a fast scale in such a short period of time, and I admire you for that as a friend. But more so, I admire you on the business aspect. So what I would like for you to share is, what do you think is the most difficult thing about developing a business, especially the last 12 months?
Well, I appreciate everything you said, but toughest?
Do you think making new connections?
No, that's the easiest part for me.
Okay.
It's building the business inside out. Right, probably the toughest thing for me, it's not business, it's more personal in the business, is just balance.
Yeah.
We've talked about that plenty of time. There is no balance, and it's finding that balance. So that's the toughest thing for me. Everything in the business, whether it's recruiting, training, operations, any aspect, I'll take that all day. I enjoy it, right, and I enjoy the struggle. But it's finding that balance. That's the toughest thing.
I mean, we talked on this, as of recently, as of today, and something that I deal with in terms of, animosity, jealousy, in terms of the same field, or people doubting you, or people, kind of throwing stones at a glass house. But how do you overcome the jealous aspect of your competitors?
I don't. I
Or
kind of
people
keep
that try to-
blinders off. Yeah.
People that try to throw shade on your name.
Yeah, so I just did that. It was funny. I did another podcast, and someone reached out to me and was like, "Only when I do mortgage podcasts, like, do I get like messages about the person?" Half the people don't even know me. I'm just coming out, right? I was putting my foundation together, and I'm just coming out.
Yeah, but
It's
for
crazy.
sorry, but for somebody that wasn't in the media field, like having an Instagram or having a Facebook, you were more all about the business and putting together your team and building the connections and developing your bottom line. And for somebody that didn't know much about media, you have your own media company.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's like you. We take things to the extreme, right?
Yeah.
We do one thing and then it goes to the extreme. So I knew if I'm going to do it, I'm going to move into the media market. I want people work with me, whether they're referral partners, they work for the company, anything, and I want them to have the ability to, if they want to do media, go to the extreme of it because it's expensive, right?
Absolutely.
I called some companies and they're like, yeah, it's $2,500, $2,000. I'm like, wait a minute. So if I could get a couple of people, if I could build a couple of people's business inside of mine, I can just start my own company, and we just took it to the next level with it. So I just jumped into it because there's gonna be a lot more value if I can give you, and everybody around us, can get the same. I don't even know how to say it, but the same quality.
Yeah, but from a realtor perspective, I feel that you're providing an extreme amount of value for us as realtor partners. And what I mean by that is not only are you great with communication, but you're developing different platforms to make us successful and to put us in a position to be successful. I can't even name another mortgage lender that provides an entire media company that we can use at our discretion whenever we want, in terms of taking listings of a property, doing virtual tours, doing video tours, or even trying to create our own brand. I've never come across a company like that.
Yeah, I think that's where the business is just going, and I think what makes us in Cliffco unique is that we're realizing that our competitors and the other people in the business aren't too focused on growing their referral partner's business, right? They have a small set inside of their place that you can use, but it gets foggy going throughout the company, right? Like whose team can use it? How do you use it? Like we're big enough. We're a large company, but we're still a family atmosphere. And at my expense, and if you're anybody part of Cliffco or part of my network, it's all of ours. So I think some of the other companies are trying to do it, but don't have it figured out, or not taking the time to.
Or even if they have it, they're not as generous as you are with it.
No.
I mean, in terms of everything from media, or we've went to plenty of lunches and dinners, and you're the first one to pay the check. I have to run and pay the waitress on a separate note just so you don't pay the bill. Like, it's unbelievable. I never wrestled with somebody to pay a bill before. I never come across that. It must be an Italian thing or something,
But we're doing it so we can build a community.
I got you. And I think that's amazing because we need a strong community, but we need an honest community. And we need a community that can help us take away that stereotype from the, typical car salesman agent or shady mortgage lender stereotype, because there's a lot of good people and there's a lot of good professionals out there, but we're getting 8-balled because of the 1% of professionals that aren't doing the right thing when it comes to the consumer.
They'll get weeded out soon.
Yeah.
When the market corrects.
I believe that 100%, but speaking in reference to that, have you noticed any new problems popping up in the industry?
It's kind of just inventory, right? So they're talking about the rates increasing and inventory still at a low. So I'm kind of curious to see what the balance, when, how it balances out, right? So when interest rates go up, normally home prices come down, and I'm trying to figure out, like, is that inventory, like where the inventory is going? It's still pretty, it's pretty still lopsided,
They're talking about, you just touched on interest rates going up. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, they're just talking, inflation's creeping up.
Okay.
And inflation's creeping faster than what the current interest rates are. So how, they're gonna have to figure that out soon.
So do you predict that this market will come to a steady halt, or will there be like a '08 heavy crash? Or
Yeah, I don't think there's gonna be anything like '08. I don't think it's gonna come to a halt either. I think most of 2022 is gonna be good too.
Okay, so we have another maybe 18 months to ride this out?
Yeah, maybe maybe a little less, but I think I definitely see like a year in it. I don't see 2018 rates were going up fast.
Yeah.
Right? That's when I was getting into the business.
Yeah.
I was getting into the business in 2018, and I started, and I was selling like 4s, right? And then rates started going to the 5s. I'm like, oh my god, like I got to get into the business at this time. And everybody.
That's what's so astonishing to me is like 2018, you and I met.
Yeah.
For the first time. I had
It's love at first sight.
Yeah. We saw each other. We just connected. Our eyes interlocked, and we never looked back. But from 2018, you're talking about in the span of 3 years to develop. What is it? A high 8-figure volume in terms of
8-figure. So not even volume; it's revenue.
8-figure revenue.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Now I'm on your level.
Now you're part of
now I'm on your level,
right? But I know you're big on connections, Ryan. If there's a lender out there that's not happy with their particular income, what are some tips or advice you can give that lender, or even that realtor that's working with the lender that's not responsive? What can you say to them?
Join the family. So I remember when I started in the business, it's like you kind of only know what you're taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to make sure you're at the right place that's going to be honest with you and give you the right opportunities. The only reason why I'm achieving what I'm achieving because I saw an opportunity at the company that I was at.
I thought it was me.
And I saw transparency. At a lot of companies, it's not transparency.
Sure.
Your pricing is getting touched you don't even know, which is affecting your referral partners or your ability to earn income, right? All right, so you're on this team, right?
Yeah.
What happens when you want to leave that team? Is that guy going to help you? That's not how it's set up at Cliffco, especially at my position. It's not, in my situation, I want you to build your own team. It benefits me for you building your own team and seeing you grow. That's what I do. I take people on, grow, and then I want to establish them at Cliffco, growing their teams. It does me no benefit. So everybody, and I respect a lot of the loyalty that's out there because I'm loyal, right? I started at Cliffco. I'll only be at Cliffco. But you got to make sure that opportunity is there for you.
What are some of the training platforms you have for somebody that wanted to come on board?
Yeah, so recently for the team, I just spent $25,000 on a training platform with one of the this gentleman has trained the most LOs across the country.
Okay.
So regardless of that training, we have JB doing sales training, we have personal LO training. We get you set up for your pre-licensing if you're not licensed and you're looking to start a career there. And I personally just built out and continue to build out a training schedule where you can get 101 time. And I'm also creating my own Cliffco University. So, because when I started, it was just like, go.
We discussed that.
It was like, go.
Yeah.
And it's either, when you're in that situation, it's either like you kind of got it or you don't.
Yeah.
But on a company standpoint and on a leader standpoint, I might be missing some of those people and losing some of those people that just need that extra handholding that can really become earners and change their life. And that's what it's about. It's about pulling people on and seeing, giving them the ability to create a different life for themselves. And some of the people that you brought me, we're seeing that happen right in front of us, and
Right.
it's amazing.
So Ryan, one of the things that I heard earlier in the segment that you mentioned was creating a community, not only for lenders but for realtors and referral partners. And I always have my ears open, my eyes open, and have a good take on the heartbeat of the community. And what I see going on is you're really surrounding yourself with some heavy hitters and some people that are really positive in the professional community within itself. Can you share a little bit, as we wrap this up, as to what you have planned for the rest of 2021?
Yeah, so there's going to be some announcements on it, but I think everybody kind of heard a little bit of it. We're doing an entrepreneur conference.
Okay.
We got some big names there.
Yeah, I know
Grant
that.
Cardone being one. I'm not going to let out any more because we're doing it little by little to keep everybody on their toes. But Grant's the big name that we're going to have there, and we got something just as big as him following up on that. But what that's going to do is that can, that level of an event is going to bring a group of people that, the real estate community is kind of tight knit, and it's the mortgage lenders that kind of don't fit, right? It's like, oh, you're hanging out with him, I'm going to stay over here. You're hanging out, right? So we got to figure out a way to blend that.
It's definitely how do I want to word this? Help me out with this one. I feel like it's clique based. Like everybody has their own little clique. You have like your Nassau clique, your Suffolk clique, your Queens clique, and it's who knows who type of environment. And if I like you and you don't like him, then I'm not gonna hang out with him because I'm with you type of feel, right? So by bringing everybody together and kind of breaking the ice, so to speak, I think that'll speak volumes for the industry. And furthermore, it'll help the consumer, because if I have somebody that's looking for A, B, and C, and you have it, and I can reach out to you and say, hey, listen, I have a buyer that's looking for this, you would be more prone to work with me if you had a relationship with me rather than not knowing me completely. And furthermore, I mean, this event I heard is going to be a multi-million-dollar event. I've never heard of an event like this coming from our space. No. And I think this is going to be the first one that's being thrown. So for somebody that wanted to get more information on the event or wanted to reach out to you to kind of express their concerns or just answer any questions that they had, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, so actually this week, everything will be going out. You could DM me for now, but we're going to be getting all that information out. Tilray Media is going to be helping a lot of that on coordinating that, and we're going to have the sites up, and it's going to be really easy. But going back to like the networking event quick before we cut it, but it's not just, we're not throwing a networking event and saying you come hang out. Yeah. Right? We're getting you in front of people, first time they've been on the island, most of them. Multi-million-dollar businesses, teach you how to scale your business. And now when you're going back to those clicks, when you realize, all right, they're here for the same reason as I am, and not that clique that's at that bar networking event, you're gonna realize that, all right, we got the same vision.
Yeah, and we're actually all about the same shit. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we hang out with different people, we're all individually, our personalities might be the same. You know what I mean? We might be able to, drink a beer together or go shoot a game of pool together, or whatever it may be, whatever your likes or dislikes are, we may be able to connect on that level. But you wouldn't know that because you're set in your corner, you're set with your clique. The ice hasn't been broken for us to open that conversation. But Ryan, I think you provided a lot of value on this episode, and I really am appreciative of you being here. So,
me too,
I just want to say thank you, my man.
Me too. Right. Thank you.